All right, all right. We're back for our next episode of the podcast, and I have a special guest, a guest that was referred to us, if you listen to our podcast, from Mr. Joe Leone from Joe Leone's Italian Catering. We have Kelly from Good Karma Boutique today. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
How do you know Joe? Let's start. Let's get right into it. How do you know Joe?
I know Joe. He, believe it or not, was a customer at my store one day. He came in looking for a greeting card, and then, we were just talking back and forth for a little bit, and he goes on to tell me, who he is, and we got into talking. He's like, oh, is this your store? Like, is this your business? I'm like, yeah, it is. And he's like, how old are you? I'm like, I'm 22. He's like, oh, well, I'm Joe Leone. I own the Joe Leones. And he's like, I started my business when I was 21, and we had, like, a lot of similarities there just from, like have our 5-minute conversation, and we really
You hit it off.
hit it off. Exactly.
Well, you hit it off that he was inspired that when he came on the podcast, he says to me, Tom, you got to reach out to this girl, Kelly. She's 22 years old, and she's owns a business in Manasquan, downtown Manasquan. And I said, absolutely, we'll reach out to her next week, and we will get her on the program. So I'm glad that you and Taylor connected from my office and to get you on, and I'm glad that we got to do this today. So let's get into it. You're 22 years old. What got you into this boutique?
What got me into this? It's kind of a crazy story. So if you asked me 6 years ago today if I thought I would be an owner of a store, I would say no.
No.
You're out of your mind. You're crazy. But so I was originally supposed to go to college. I graduated high school in 2019. I was supposed to go to college in Australia to study business. Still really had no idea.
What made you, let me just interrupt you, sorry.
Yeah.
What made you want to go to Australia for college?
I just always been fascinated by it. And I'm like, you know what? Everybody, says that that's the time to do it.
Now,
you're never going to get
You're
that
gonna get
time back
again.
to, as far as freedom goes and all that. So I was like, let me just go. I've always wanted to go to Australia. And
You weren't nervous about being so far from home?
I was nervous, but the way their college works there, believe it or not, it's like 2 years instead of 4. So I was like, okay, maybe that'll ease my nerves a bit. But
Yep. Save your parents some money, and the fact that it's 2 years of payments instead of 4 years of payments.
Exactly.
You're looking out for them.
Exactly. So I was supposed to go to college in February instead of September, because that's when fall down in Australia starts. It's like, the start of the semester.
Sure.
That at the time was when, COVID started to escalate. Things started to get a little confusing. Nobody really knew what was going on or where we were. And I was seeing, a lot of countries were starting to close their borders and, take a lot of precautionary measures. So I'm like, let me play it safe and just work for a few years.
Okay.
So I started working in a handful of different boutiques all up and down the Jersey Shore, and I really, really loved it. And I was thinking to myself, I'm like, it'd be a fun idea to try to save to open my own. And then here we are, and I couldn't even tell you the rest. It's history.
All right, so you're working at a couple, you start to see what you like, and then you have a little bit of a passion for this.
Oh, yes, I love it.
Or a big passion.
I love it so much.
So now you're like, all right, I'm going to open my own boutique. What made you pick Manasquan? I mean, it's a great town. I love it. One of my offices is in Manasquan, so I have nothing bad to say about Manasquan. But what made you choose Manasquan?
Manasquan, believe it or not, chose me.
Okay.
It honestly, I was saving and, looking, not seriously looking for a location, but every night I would just browse, or if I was driving through town, I'd see a for rent sign, I'd be like, oh, that's cute. And then this location ended up becoming available. I inquired about it kind of as a, I can't even see this being my store, but I'm just going to ask, doesn't hurt to ask.
Doesn't hurt to ask.
And then it was just crazy. The rest took off. Ended up talking to the landlords, hit it off really well. And then I had a store, and I felt truly like I almost wasn't ready, but I felt like this fell into my lap so perfectly that it was just like a sign. It's like, all right, you're ready. You got to do it. Yeah.
Good.
So.
All right, so you opened in November.
I did.
So right before the rush of Black Friday and Cyber Monday and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Small Business Saturday. So how was your first month in business. I mean, you started at a time in retail where it's crazy, but on the other side is you have customers right away. So that part of it is a good news story.
Yeah. It was definitely like a little crazy at first, but a good crazy. Our small business Saturday, Black Friday, that whole weekend went really well. Like so much support from the community, people like checking us out for the first time, like just introducing themselves, like welcome to the neighborhood. That's one thing I love, especially about Manasquan.
You have a great downtown, you have great support down there. Like I feel like that's one of the better downtowns on the Jersey Shore.
For sure. And like everyone's so supportive, like the customers, the neighbors, like the other businesses, like they all just try to really like support one another, and that for me is a very important thing too, because I think it's nice.
It is nice. So you got through the rush of Small Business Saturday, Black Friday. Now you go into December, which is another good month for you, and you've learned some things. I'm sure you learned some things back in November that you brought into December with you.
For sure, for sure.
And now, how was December?
December was great. We had some fun little Christmas events going on. Another great thing about the town is that they do a lot for the kids and a lot for the community. They'll have like fun events.
Yeah.
So we got to participate in a lot of those. Get to like just see everything for the first time. The firsts are always very like interesting because you get to see like what they bring. And like our first Christmas, it was just like extra special because it was like you remember it even more so. You go from having your grand opening to having your first, Small Business Saturday weekend to having your first whole holiday season. It just feels, the whole thing just feels so special.
Awesome. So now we're into March. So how was January and February for you?
January and February, quiet as usual, but I gotta be honest, like I still see so much support from everyone, and things are going well. I had my own little event for like Valentine's Day. I did I brought in another one of my favorite little local pop-up permanent jewelry vendors. That's like a big trend right now. So I had like that going on. I try to make it as fun as I can, I try to make it creative for this time of year to have just something going on.
And now how do you deal with staffing? Do you have some employees that are working for you?
It is just me for now.
For right now, it's just you.
Yes.
So you're there, open to close. You're there. So you are the store and you are the brand. Now, come the summer season in Manasquan, you're probably going to need some help.
Yeah.
So now you're going to start thinking about.
Yeah, definitely going to hire some help for the summer season. Right now it's manageable for one person because I'm closed Mondays and Tuesdays.
Okay, good.
So it's like I get that break. But, even on those days where you're not there, you're still doing stuff.
As a business owner, you're still working. And again, you're a young person to be in the business world because I know that I spend a lot of my downtime and days off working because when you run a business, it never stops. So, one thing that you told me in the interview process when we were going through it is competition. I wanna hit on what your thought is on competition.
Competition, I truly think that your competition is like the way your business looked or was yesterday. I don't think your competition has anything to do with other people. I think that if you look inward and find, things that you need to fix and you need to work on to build your business better and build yourself better and just your brand better, I think it all starts with you. Like if I feel like I'm not doing enough or I feel like I, could work on something better, then I turn to myself and I say, okay, what can I do?
I love that. I think the same way as you. I think that I'm the only competition for myself, and the products I deliver and my team delivers. That's our competition. We have to do better than yesterday, and you can't harp on yesterday, but you got to look at how to take yesterday and move it better into the future, and look in the mirror. And I think you're very young to understand that. I mean that's a really great quality, and I hope that you continue that as you continue your entrepreneurial journey, because I think too many people will say, oh, this is this. Oh, that guy cut his price. Oh, you don't understand what it is dealing with this. And, I think when you look at it, nobody has a monopoly none of the small businesses have a monopoly on their products, and where they're that susceptible to competition. So you should be able to always continue to grow your business. And I think that's the more that you look at that and look in the mirror and say, hey, I got to do better than yesterday. Hey, when I think about how I interacted here, I could have done better by doing this. I think that'll continue to help your business tremendously.
Yeah, and like now that I am a small business owner, like I have a greater appreciation for what goes into it. So I see people in their stores, and it's not like, oh, I own a store, so I'm going to stop shopping local or stop shopping small. If anything, it encourages me to do more of that because I see what goes into it. And I'm like, okay, these small businesses, they,
it's a lot
they
of
put
hard
their
work.
Everything into it too. So it's important to definitely support one another.
I always love as much as possible to support local, to support the small business in the neighborhood, because again, it's a family or it's a person or it's a team of people that are working together to really better their business, and and they're just hustling to make a living. So I really applaud that, and I think that's great. It's great that you have that under control at such a young age, and you understand it, and you're going to continue to, as you train, as you bring on new employees and train them, they have to understand your culture, because again, they're a representation of you.
Yeah.
When I first started, and I've been in business 15 years, and I have 20 people that work for me, but when I first started, I was a one-man show. I didn't have a location, but I was the one. And I remember even 8 years ago when Tony first started working for me, I said, she can't answer the phone. People need to talk to me. And I said, Tone, I let you answer the phone, but you really can't. They need to talk to me. They want to talk to me. But as time has gone on, as I've continued to grow my business, I've had to let go of that phone, because again, I'm here with you today. This phone and my office phone, they're going to ring, and someone's going to take a message and speak to Nicole or Dave or Kevin, and they'll be able to handle it. But at the beginning, I was so nervous that someone couldn't answer the phone, and I look back and I say, I'm crazy. So you have to embrace and give your staff, when they come on board, let them know how you feel about how it gets done, but you need to let them do their jobs, and they will, if they're the right employees and they're trained properly, they'll live out your mission and your vision. But you want to release the reins a little bit. If I can offer you one piece of advice, is release the reins a little bit so that people could do their job. Again, when I look at some of the jobs at Wingman, I don't try to take Taylor's job over from her. You got to meet her through the podcast, but she runs our social media, she runs our digital work, and I give her my points of view and thoughts, and she comes back to me with the plan. But ultimately, as you hire people, let them do their job and let them live out the mission and the vision of what you have, because that'll take you to the next level and take it faster. Again, if that's a piece of advice I can give to you today, because I think that will help you.
That's probably, honestly, the piece of advice that I needed the most, because, your business is like your baby,
It is.
It's like, do I trust anybody with it? Or, and I feel the same way, because I have, my mom helps me a lot too.
Shout out to your mom.
Yeah, shout out to my mom. Definitely couldn't have done it without her.
She definitely, and I know that she hits the like button on some of the podcasts. So
oh, yes, she does.
I knew ahead of time that, that she was a good egg, because I saw her hitting the like button on Facebook on a couple of the different podcasts. So that's great. And it's great that you have a support in your mom to help you as a young entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. And there's going to be things. And again, you have a great support network in Manasquan. You have Joe in your corner. So I mean, you have a lot of good things going for you.
Yeah, like I talked to her about that too. Like when it comes like time for hiring, I'm like, well, but what if they forget to lock the back door? Or like, well, what if they forget to do this? And I'm like, okay, just chill out. It'll be fine.
Yep. It will be. And things are going to go wrong. Don't think that they're not. Like, I'm going to tell you that right up front. Like, things will go wrong. Things will not get done exactly how you envision. But if you use that, and I like to say to my team, and I'm sure sometimes they roll their eyes, I like to say, let's make this a teachable moment. Yeah. Meaning, let's learn from, a mistake was made. Let's learn from it. Let's just, my thing is, everyone's going to make mistakes. We're all human, right? But don't make the same mistake twice. That's what bothers me. Yeah. That's what frustrates me when someone on my team makes the same mistake twice, because that means to me they didn't learn. Yeah. If you make a mistake, everyone's bound to make a mistake. And again, my business wouldn't be here today if I didn't make some mistakes along the way. You learn from your mistakes, and you take them, you look in the mirror and say, let me do better tomorrow, like you said earlier. So But think about that with your team. So when you have a team and when you have some employees, they're going to forget to lock the back door one day.
Yep.
They are. They're not going to shut off the light. They're not going to do something the same way you would have done it. But utilize that as a teachable moment to make your business better and to make your brand, better. And again, you want to make sure at the end of the day, every product that goes out the door has your seal of approval on it and has your brand on it and your feeling on it, so that people can feel what you feel about your business.
Yeah. And one thing that means a lot to me, like that a lot of customers say when they come into my store, they say, "Oh, I love the energy in here. I love the energy from you. I love the energy from the store." And like, that's all I want. Like, first of all, the store is called Good Karma, so I hope you wouldn't feel any bad karma in there.
What made you come up with Good Karma as your name?
Good karma? I don't know. I think good karma is everything. If everyone was just a little nicer to each other, a little, just kinder to themselves, if everybody put good karma out, they'd get good karma back.
I'm a believer in that too.
Yeah. And I think, that's what I like. I take pride in like having a store that people feel comfortable to go into. Because, some stores you walk in and, they don't help you. They don't even look at you. And they don't even like, acknowledge you. And like, I just want my customers to know, like, I'm here to help you. I'm never going to hover over you. But like,
I'm
need
here
anything,
for you.
I'm here. Exactly.
And that's great. I mean, that's the wingman way.
Yeah.
We want to make sure we always have your back when we're working with you. But again, I think a lot of stores, that people just come to work there and they're coming there for their paycheck, not because. But I think I blame that partially on the employee, but I also blame it on the employer, because the employer has to go in and train. So one thing, again, if you don't want that to happen when you have employees, you have to lead by example. And it sounds like you lead by example right now, going in every day, thinking about your business when you're not there, but you have to go lead by example. So if you have an employee who's not doing what you want them to do, you need to show them the way. You need to lead by example. When that next customer walks in the door, show them. You take the lead and say, "Hey, Mrs. Jones, how can I help you today? Hey, what is this something you're looking for?" So that they can learn from you and emulate how you do it.
Definitely.
That's great. I think you have a lot of good things going on.
Thank you so much.
So let's talk about downtown Manasquan. I run a nonprofit toy drive. I want to make sure that my team connects with you around the holidays, so that you could be a toy bin location.
I would love that.
And then what we do is we roll around in one of my trolleys from my Shubu business, and we collect toys in the community.
Yeah.
And it's a fun day, and you get pictures on social media, and you take pictures with Santa and all that good stuff. So we'll have to coordinate that to get you on the route this year.
I would love that, because I like to give back as much as I can. Like, back in December, I had a food drive, Christmas food drive, and I gave it back to the church in town.
Awesome.
Unfortunately, I didn't get an abundance because I was still new and people didn't really know about me yet. But like, I love to do things like that. So
I'll make sure that we promote you when we're doing the toy drive, so hopefully more people walk in the door, and then in turn bring a toy.
Yes,
so
the most important part.
We'll figure out the logistics of that around the holidays, but I think that could be great.
Awesome.
And I think that keep networking within the downtown area, because there's so many good businesses down there. You have Joe Leone's, you have Committed Pig, you have Blend. I mean, those are just 3 great places in town. But there's also there's other local businesses that also I think could be beneficial and help you continue to grow your business. I'm excited for you.
Thank you so much.
I'm glad you came on. I want to let people know how to find you. So let's go with website, socials, phone number, address, all that good stuff.
So yes, you can find us on Instagram. We are at good.karma.boutique. And you can contact us at 732-579-0585. And we also just launched our brand new website a few days ago. So it's goodkarmamanasquan.com. So you can contact us on there as well. You can sign up for emails. You can, just shop all of our great things. So.
And what's the physical address?
Physical address is 16 Broad Street in Manasquan,
16 Broad Street in Manasquan. Manasquan's getting ready for the summer season, so you'll be out there and getting everybody fashionable and with all the cool boutique stuff.
Yes, I can't wait. It's
awesome.
Going to be very fun.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you on. Continue doing great things, and I'll check in on you from time to time.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
You got it. Have a great day.